early childhood, early access.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Angie.
Hi, Angie Hance, Regional Administrator with Green Hills.
Hi. Is there anybody else? Oh, there's Joe. Joe, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Joe.
Hey, Joe, I need an update on that hawk. I need to know if it was released. Can you check for me?
Not yet.
It has not been
They
released?
let me know if I can fit it in with time, or if you want to go too, that I am allowed to come and videotape the release.
Are you kidding me?
If you want to come say goodbye.
Okay, well, you and I need to talk later. I've got my neighbors are freaking out. Okay. Cindy and Janet, do you want to introduce yourselves just quickly? I don't see a picture of Cindy.
Wait, well, it's a department. We don't have cameras on our computers.
Okay.
This is Janet. Thanks a lot for introducing yourself. Most of you I know, and those of you I don't know, I'm looking forward to getting to know. Cindy, I saw Cindy was on, and so maybe, hopefully she'll jump in here.
Okay.
I'll turn my microphone off.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the two of you.
Hello.
Hi, Cindy.
Didn't know if you could hear me. I am Cindy Butler at the Department of Ed, and I usually work with the schools in Heartland, but I was part of the site visit team to Green Hills and have been named part of the follow-up team. So that's why I'm joining you today.
Awesome. Well, we're thrilled you're with us. And sorry about that I just spilled coffee. Oh, maybe you can't even see me. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, if that's okay with everyone. And we're just going to go. Is the agenda up in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, great. So just for Cindy and Janet, just to give you a little, David, did you want to say anything before we start?
No, you're doing a great job. Thanks, Terry.
Okay. So just to give Janet and Cindy a little background, this group has morphed several times over the course of several years. And our purpose of coming together is really to hone in on our agency goals, which are really around reading and math, and our big rocks of reading and math, also TLC and technology. Infused in there is definitely MTSS. So we come together, I think we are together maybe 3 or 4 times a year. And the people that are part of this meeting are mainly our leads, and then our administrative team and assessment consultant. And you know who I did forget, who I saw was on, is our infamous administrative assistant, and that would be Mrs. Debbie Hayes. So she's on too. I'm sure she'll take minutes. So what we do is keep in front of us our achievement data, and continually update that and watch our progress as we strive to close the gap between kids on IEPs and not on IEPs. So with us, oh good, we passed our desk audit, woohoo. So welcome to Janet and Cindy. And our meeting today is scheduled to go till 11. I'm not sure it will last that long, and we will plan accordingly. So I am going to take a look at our first item, which is Carrie on? Carrie, are you on? Carrie Astro. Okay. Well, I'm going to start with gave you a little overview of our outcomes. I would remind you that our norms are really based upon the FIERCE principles, which are to be here with us, be responsible for your emotional wake and what you say. Silence is okay. We might have to tackle some challenges today. Come out and be real. Obey your instincts, so if you have to go to the bathroom, go ahead, but also believe in your gut. Interrogate reality, and tough on issues and easy on people. Our goals are stated, and I would direct you to our 9 o'clock time and our item of digital learning and that vision. So this is a document that all of you have seen before. We introduced this at our last CIP meeting. And it really is our agency's vision around technology integration. So I would remind you as leads of our disciplines to be very cognizant of this document as we move forward around making technology alive and well in our agency. We're going to talk a little bit later about the SAMR model. And you will see today also that plans of math and reading, or math and literacy, will reflect some of the language that you see in this document. Is there anybody else who would like to add to this conversation around this document? I would ask again, is Carrie on?
I'll see if I can message her, Terry, and see if I can.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any questions, Mary Ann, Judy? Any comments about this document as we make this alive and well in our agency?
Well, I was thinking about this morning, and one of the things in our vision statement is that we are pioneers, we're risk takers, we model best practice. Those kinds of statements are in our vision statement for our agency. So I think that fits perfectly with what we're doing in the realm of technology and model what would be the best practice for increasing achievement for students and helping teachers to become more comfortable in using what is in reality an abundance of technology in our school districts. The majority of teachers have access to high-speed internet almost consistently now. They have lots of devices that they can use in many different ways. So they have computers, they have the LCD projectors, they have interactive whiteboards, they have tablets, and they also have, and I'm not going to get the word, those cameras, document cameras. So there's a lot of technology to be used. So our goal is, in thinking about the SAMR model, is to think about how it would be more than just a replacement tool as a really high-end notebook and pen, and to be able to do business in a different way. And I was watching a video of a couple of professors from Boston University, and they were talking about the importance of teachers helping students learn how to use digital devices, and also the abundance of information that's out there. I mean, it's amazing, and most of it's not vetted. So that's a passion of mine, is how can we understand how to vet that information. And so I'm going to shut up now, but those are my thoughts on it.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? The one thing I think about this document helping me as an administrator in the agency is to have people, as they are developing their individual professional development goals, is to think about this document as well and find connections between goals and technology. I don't know if anybody else wants to add ways that. Okay.
This is Judy. I the other thing I wanted to say is when we're starting to look at, and we have so many teachers, of course, looking at the standards, we have the new science standards coming out. Marianne and I both teach classes and really dig into the literacy standards, and there's technology all over in those literacy standards about, you know, students publishing their work and for a real world audience and all of that, and that's K-12, and let alone the math and science standards. So, you know, technology is, we need to be modeling that also, so that if they see us doing it, then they feel more comfortable to change how they do things in the classroom. So we need to emphasize that as we do our professional development also.
Thank you. Anything else?
I think we can hear you typing. If you want to mute so we don't listen to you type, just FYI.
Okay. Any other questions about this document? I think it's a great document to have as we move forward. It really helps define our work in relationship to integrating technology. Okay. I am going to get out of here and go back into that. Okay. I thought, because we usually do it in the beginning, but I thought we could do it at the end, is hold off on our celebrations and we would end our meeting that way versus starting it. How about that? Because I just saw that. So I know Mark is not with us, and I can cover most of the information sharing unless I have colleagues who would like to pipe in. I'll just go ahead and go over each one of these bullets, and notice that I've really highlighted the message that we wanted you to get as you look in either a document or a PowerPoint. So the first one is around C4K, Collaborating for Kids. It is a PowerPoint in its entirety that was shared with the joint directors of the AEAs last week. And I think the message around this PowerPoint is slide 3, which really reflects, I think, I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this, but this is actually the plan for implementation of 7-12 literacy, pre-K-12 math, and pre-K-12 behavior, and then core and interventions. It also reflects the plan to incorporate the Web IEP and IFSP into the tier system. We're also going to go over in a minute ESSA, but that is going on right now in the planning. You've probably heard about meetings going on for feedback and input, but that's happening now. So the message here is this is still on track for implementation. You know, if Janet or Cindy, do you have anything specific to say around this plan as we move through this PowerPoint? If you don't, that's fine.
I think you're correct. It's still the plan that we're trying to follow at the moment. So.
Okay. So for those of you who have not seen it, this timeline, which reminds me of a Gantt chart, and what is below say the same thing. They're just depicted in two different ways. And I think I interrupted somebody.
Yeah, it was just me. That's okay. I have seen this just referenced again recently at a state level meeting. Just the active reference to it tells me that that people at the state level are still looking at this and still planning around this, which would include our work right now under early warning systems.
Okay. Thank you. All right. The next slide talks about a regional meeting. So for those of you who have not, I'll just say that there have been C4K meetings going on for a couple of years, and there is one group, there's several groups, but there's an oversight group and then there's a large group. In the large group, this slide speaks to the large group, and what the state is trying are regional meetings. So you can see that we will be hosting ours, and it's February 22nd, and we have added a representative from LEAs from all 4 of our regions. So they'll be attending, as well as our people as well, coming to that C4K meeting. So David is going to be attending that meeting for us, and as well as some regional administrators and then our LEA reps. So they will begin to plan for the future of C4K and the implementation of the plan. This again is the picture around differentiated accountability, which you're going to hear in a minute is really our ESSA plan for the state. We have spent a lot of time with Universal and assessment and database decision making, and are really starting now with the other petals of intervention, leadership, and infrastructure. So those petals remain being our main focus right now. I guess the other piece I wanted to let you know about is the SAMI, which is going to be a way for schools to measure the level of implementation around MTSS. It's going to help them with planning, prioritizing. Right now, SAMI is a pilot, and the number one thing that I think we need to know as AEA is there may be some schools that decide to be part of the pilot. The SAMR pilot has been disseminated to our partner schools, and I'm not sure, and maybe Cindy and Janet know how many schools have decided that they are going to be a part of the pilot. I haven't heard that, but I think what you need to know as an AEA staff member is that your involvement with SAMI, if a school decides to be part of a pilot, should be invitation by the district. So that would mean, for instance, maybe Tina is invited to join Atlantic if they've decided to be a part of the SAMI pilot. Janet and Cindy, can you offer any more information on that?
No, I've not heard anything any more than what you've explained.
Okay. So is there anybody out there in Zoom land that knows of a school that's is going to be a part of the SAMI pilot?
Terry?
Yeah.
I don't know any numbers either. I do know that Council Bluffs is opted out of, they do not wish to be a part of the pilot.
Okay.
And that's all the information I know.
Okay.
Brad Niebling is probably the best person, or maybe even Tina, to know where they're at with numbers.
Okay. Is Tina on?
I didn't see Tina. I think they have some kind of meeting out at Heartland today.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what I'm not sure what the content of the meeting is.
Okay. So I think in a nutshell, what we want you to know is it's a pilot right now. You can Google SAMI, and if you're interested in digging deeper into it, also this PowerPoint will help you understand it a little bit more. It would be a systemic way for the state to look at implementation of MTSS, which you're going to hear that theme over and over again as things roll out, in that we are really trying to focus on initiatives and work as an AEA system versus 9 separate systems. So, and that's a good thing, I think. Okay. Any other questions about SAMI? Patrick? Oh, okay.
What?
I didn't know if you can monitor the, I don't think you can, the chat. You can't, can you?
Yeah, I can, I think.
Okay.
I'd have to log in on my own.
Forget
screen,
it. I think I can do it. I think I can do
okay.
it.
Terry, I've got it up here too. I can keep an eye on it as well.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay, if there's no more questions about C4K, I'd ask you to jump out of there and we'll go into Iowa tier. And the message there is, guess what? Things are going really, really well. This is a very short PowerPoint, but informational. You can see if you go into the graph, where I have that up, that tier hit the highest single day ever with 26,000 online, and things were still running smoothly. So we're happy about that, and so are schools. Trying to think what else I wanted to. These are some comments that the DE has received since working with TIER, that there's been no system outages or downtime. Things are faster and they are definitely reliable. One of the things that we heard at the state, at our state meeting, or our joint directors meeting, was that they are going to continue with the audit, and as it can really shed some light on what does happen behind the scenes as TIER occurs. Couple more stats. There were about 90 new sites added in the fall of 2016 and 60 new sites added in the winter. Over 1,000 sites total. We have 280,000 students pre-K 6 that are actively enrolled in the system. So that's just some stats. And of course, we had a bad fall, and we're looking to the winter to get systemic issues figured out, and I think that's happened. Again, the technical audit will happen this month, and we will begin to look at the implementation, you know, of the other things coming on board, and then the web IEP and IFSP. Any questions about TIER? Okay. I hear Tina's on.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm sorry, I so did not have this on my agenda.
So do you have any information around possible schools in Green Hills AEA that are gonna move forward with the SAMI pilot? Do you have information on that?
Actually, I'm with Barbara, and Janet Boyd just asked me how many districts were interested in Sammy, and she said that Barbara just told me there were about 15 total. Do you want me to have her check and see? I know Atlantic is doing it. Do you want me to ask her the others from Green Hills?
That would be great.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, any questions about tier? Okay. Smarter Balanced. Sherry, I would ask you to unmute in case we have any, or you have any additional things. Actually, the message here is everything is on hold. I don't know that there's anything else to say about this than that. I am not politically savvy, and I know that that's where this is hanging right now. Do you have anything else to say?
That would be exactly where I'm at too. And I mean, statewide, everything on hold, like even our statewide assessment meeting that typically talks about this was shortened from a day to like a 1 hour webinar that we'll find out more next week, but on hold everywhere.
Okay. So if districts ask, if conversations come up, that is what we know. It is on hold.
Terry, Barbara said that they're just getting ready to start that co-leads meeting, but she said it's on her work list for this afternoon. There's like 15 total, and she will send you an Excel spreadsheet tomorrow with those 15. And she said probably just a couple then from an agency.
Okay, but we know Atlantic's one of them, right?
Yeah, I do know that.
Okay, all right. Okay, so anything else for the good of the cause around Smarter Balanced?
I do have one question. Do we know if there are any districts in Green Hills that had moved forward with the 90-minute training of staff?
Yes. I know we did in East Mills and Essex.
They actually had I was there for that planning one, and we switched the focus of it, and then there was a snow days, and it was never made up.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So no other districts that you know of? That's cool. I mean, it's not a critical thing. It was kind of a selfish curiosity.
Yeah, you're right. They did cancel that. Okay.
Terry, can I interrupt a second?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I go back over to my other meeting? I will keep this Zoom on in case you have a question for me, and then I will try to pay attention to what you're doing as well.
That's fine, Tina. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Essa, I think the message of this PowerPoint, and it's again additional information for you, is that our ESSA plan in Iowa will reflect what we are currently doing. There won't be anything really different. It's all about the differentiated accountability work and using ESSA to assist us with operationalizing that. So I would draw you to slide 5, and I'll pop that up. But the way that the state is really approaching this is a upside down triangle, and of course the law on top, and then our plan, rules, which we all know falls under Iowa code. The DE continues to supply guidance around the rules and the law. And then the other thing that they're figuring out is technical assistance to districts in reference to the law. So again, it's not like ESSA is going to go into play and we're going to see lots of different things happening in the state of Iowa. The message I'm hearing very clearly is that we will stay the course with how we're approaching school improvement. and education of our kids. Anything else you would add to that, Cindy and or Janet or anybody else? So the details are within this PowerPoint if you're interested. But again, the message here is we are staying the course in what you're seeing happen across the state now. The last piece is just a bit of information is TLC. Definitely in my wheelhouse, so I feel very comfortable talking about this in that we are alive and well and providing support to our schools to support teacher leadership compensation. We have started to plan for the 17-18 school year. We are a prime site for Diane Sweeney. And again, this is another example of working as a system versus 9 separate AEAs. So there will be several AEAs that bring in Diane Sweeney. There will be several AEAs that bring in Jim Knight. And if a school is in another AEA and needs Jim Knight, they will need to travel versus bringing Jim Knight in 9 different times in 9 different places. Same with Diane Sweeney. So we have 3 cohorts going on in Green Hills AEA right now. Cohort 1 would be Council Bluffs. Cohort 2 would be Red Oak, Glenwood, and Lewis Central. And then cohort 3 are all the rest of our days, or all the rest of our schools. We're looking at developing a boot camp for new staff in August, and then an ed camp for our cohort 1 and 2. Traditionally, cohort 3 will get 4 days of on-site time with Diane. We will also be a cognitive coaching host site, so stay tuned on that, but we're developing a plan to get trainers across the state around cognitive coaching, as that will be a next step for schools after they would finish with Diane Sweeney. We continue to offer Fierce for TLC and also for administration. You'll see those dates on the far right. Connie and Sherry have fearlessly led facilitating collaborative professional learning. That's ongoing right now. Of course, Journey to Excellence continues. We were able to work with Sarah Brown Wessling to bring back Teaching Transparently, as we had to cancel in January. Very excited for that opportunity, and very, it can be for any TLC leader, and it's really very advantageous for those teachers that are in the model teaching role. We're also looking at Teaching Transparently as a system. So that's another opportunity for a cohort to take advantage of in the future. Bruce Wellman will be with us next week. This will really fill a need of schools letting us know they need assistance with adult learning styles and conversations. So we're excited to have him with us in Atlantic next week. And our awesome instructional tech consultants have set up monthly Zoom meetings focused on a variety of content areas, and really appreciate their willingness to make TLC part of their work. So I want to throw out a thank you for making that happen for our coaches. Any questions about TLC?
Just a comment about TLC. I was at the grocery store yesterday and ran into a teacher from Trainer. And she was telling me how ecstatic she was to be working with her TLC coach and what a difference it's made. And she was a little dubious about it to begin with, but she said it's been the best experience she's had to be in the coaching cycle, she called it.
That's great. Yep. That's Diane Sweeney's work and her coaching cycles. I want to do a big shout out to Tara for really helping with those labs. Part of Diane's work, she's on site with schools one day in Avoca, and then our second day with her is regional coaching labs. And of course, she could not do it on her own, go to 4 different sites. So I want to shout out to Tara for helping us make that a very, very powerful experience for our coaches. So thank you, Tara. Any other questions? I do think this is making a huge difference where it's being done well, and I hear nothing but good things only at state meetings and also back home around the power of this model and how it is changing the work for teachers. So in a positive way. Anything else? Okay, I would have the next piece as well. So I'm gonna ask Patrick to do math, and then we'll come back to literacy. I'm pretty sure people are tired of my voice.
Oh, I wouldn't say so. Sure. So yeah, so math is making some good movements. Specifically the mathematics team is, I just want to commend here publicly, I want to commend Tara and Connie for really thinking outside of the box when it comes to supporting our schools and the agency. Part of innovation is being able to take risks and supporting our schools in ways that they haven't been supported before. And they push me every day to support them because they're really making really good pushes in the area of math and supporting our schools. And I think you can see that the numbers are changing in that area, specifically by building capacity with our teachers. So let me get on the right document here. So on the so with our 5-year plan, we're looking as you see in the action plan there. Try to open that up. We're building out with some focus on the special ed SDI side with Connie leading that, and then Tara leading the gen ed side. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here just for a second. I had something pop up. So as we go forward in this spring, we're going to expand our number sense interventions through Red Oak and Osceola and Avoca. If you have anybody that you would like to see get that K1 number sense in the Avoca area, the numbers are kind of low right now. So it would be, if you can help us sell that, that would be great. We're starting a new middle school mathematics interventions called SOAR. And SOAR lives in the 6-9 world. And that is a program out of the University of Pittsburgh where the math team will be able to become trainers for our teachers and build their capacity in the area of interventions and diagnostics for our students in middle school. This is really one of our weakest points in the agency across the Green Hills is what do we do for our middle school students to support their mathematical needs. And this is, will come in on March 27th, Tara? In that window somewhere in there?
So March 31 or 30, 31 and April 27th and 28th. will be our training for teachers, and this kind of piggybacks on what Terry said about 9 AEAs working together. Green Hills is footing the bill for the training to occur, and we have opened it to other consultants across the state to be trainers of the materials. So the materials are around ratio and proportion, and they are a diagnostic interview with then placement using a checklist of small group instruction based on their needs. So we're getting that started, and then once we'll have an internal team trained, we will be able to provide that ratio and proportion screening tool and intervention materials anywhere in our agency to any 6th through 9th grade teacher, special ed, gen ed, and those materials, the interview and the intervention materials will be available equitably to any school within Green Hills. So that's our big work that we're kind of reaching out. Our gap data is the worst in middle school, partially because of the large dip in 6th grade, but when gen ed dips, so does special ed. So our gap is the largest in all regions in middle school. We were currently not doing any targeted work at middle school, so these materials will get us started with, like I said, the diagnostic interview with a set of intervention lessons that teachers will be trained on as well. Part of that training is also effective questioning. It's one of the days of the 3. So that provides some quality tier 1 best practice instruction for all teachers. So like Patrick said, we're just trying to, our matrix that we're kind of driven by and thinking about is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 work across K-12, and it just looks different than literacy just because of how the content lays out. So we are trying to expand that work, and you can see in our notes that this spring we're expanding our tiered algebra, which is our high school intervention work, to the east. So Connie and I are heading to Osceola, and Chris is going to join us for that work, learning alongside us. Connie and Kristen are working on the K-1 intervention. Last year, I shared in a celebration, last year we piloted that K-1 intervention with 22 out of 26 kids who were at proficiency after 24 lessons. So that data drove this expansion of that work across our agency. SDI 3.5 next year will be agency-wide available. Some schools still aren't ready for that. We understand the need for literacy in K-3, so when schools are ready, we're able to provide that. The expansion for next year will be to really look at how do we address tier 1 strategies that support struggling learners when they show up in tier 1. So our team has, in our action plan, you can kind of, we label these bigger rocks around when we create work around that matrix of K-12, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Those are the things that we're going to expect. So we will use that in planning how we're going to roll out elementary support in mathematics around big ideas of mathematics in those grade levels, as well as strategies specific for struggling learners when they show up in tier 1. So instead of just talking about universal instruction, we're going to talk about universal instruction that supports the struggling learner and look at strategies that gen ed teachers need to have as supports for those kids.
Thank you, Tara. That was very thorough. That's good. Good. What questions do we have? All righty. Next, Terry.
Okay. I will share again so that I can speak. I think Lynn left. Did Lynn leave?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna just briefly highlight the action plan. I want to share with you our new literacy site, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ann because she knows way more about Actively Learn than I do. Fair? Is that okay, Mary Ann? You're muted.
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. So one thing I want to talk to you about that you're going to see with literacy and with math is that we're really thinking long-term and thinking 5 years out. So when you have an action plan like that, it also lends itself to change, a fluid document. But you now all have access to this document so you can see what's happening across the agency in the tiers. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of some of the things happening in universal, targeted, and intensive. And then I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ann to talk to you a little bit about technology within our plan, and then she can talk to you about Actively Learn. So our main approach to universal literacy is a couple ways. What we have going on are our early literacy days across the year and also regionally. I do want to let you know that that probably is going to sunset in light of the differentiated accountability trainings that are being offered at the state level. Specifically, our representatives to that are Tina and Andrea. So you're probably going to see that sunset because what we're hearing from the field is these people are being pulled out of schools way, way, way too much. We are heavily involved with press and supporting that across our schools. For those of you who have not heard of press, it's very much a scripted literacy intervention that could be used for universal and or targeted instruction. We're hearing really good things about the implementation of press. You're seeing that now across the state, and we're working on that as a system, again, versus 9 separate entities. Let's see, what else do we have going on? A lot of schools took part in the differentiated accountability work around universal tier. And of course, we continue to support schools as needed around their universal instruction. Somebody might want to mute themselves. Our targeted work is primarily press and also the work we're doing around Tier 2 intervention or literacy. We expanded that project. It started in the South and is now a part of the North and the East. Again, it really focuses on that targeted tier within MTSS, and primarily what's happening is teachers are getting professional development, and then the follow-up is on-site work with our consultants. And then intensive, I would just draw your attention to the wonderful work that our SDI team does around intensive and providing all the professional development and support. You will see that we have ongoing learning opportunities within our PLT. And I would just ask Mary Ann to talk a little bit about what we talked about this morning about technology, and then you could talk about Actively Learn.
Okay. So one of the things that we looked at when we were in addressing technology with the literacy team is that we, first of all, we discovered what our desire or our current reality was about how our team was using technology when they were providing resources and training and professional development to teachers and how they were modeling that. And so we put that all in a Padlet. And then another thing that we did is we did all take the watched the video and took the Edpuzzle quiz about the SAMR model. And at our last meeting, we looked at the wheel that everybody, the SAMR model wheel that everybody received, which looked at the verbs and the SAMR model and the higher order thinking and the progression across that, and what kinds of tools that you might be able to use if you were going to meet at a certain level on the SAMR and higher order thinking. So it just was a nice visual to think about when you're doing your planning. And then we had kind of a fun activity too. Then we had a Kahoot quiz about the SAMR model, and we all took that. And so in our action plan, we have written about, let's see that, let me get the right verbiage here. Talk among yourselves for a second. So the other thing, another part of our plan was to come up with a new website that would kind of pull all of our information together, and I'll show you that later. And we took a whole day, and we thought about using several different tools, but we landed on the new Google Sites, and I believe that we're all happy about that. And kind of our whole philosophy now is that we're going to continue to model for teachers how they can bring together traditional and innovative resources that can help all students become expert readers of the full range of texts that dominate the information and technical age. Part of the deal with particularly reading is that a lot of reading now is online, and that's a different way of reading. So did you want me to talk about our website now?
Sure, I'll pull it up.
Okay. I will look and see what you're looking
Ta-da!
at. Yay! All right, so this is our website, and actually Google Sites is pretty we found it pretty easy to use, and we've added quite a bit to it, and it's a work in progress. And I'll be perfectly honest, I was playing around with my part yesterday and today, which is about the tech part. And so I have it there, but I can't get rid of one button. So, and it's not linked exactly right. So I'm working on how to move it around. And so it's, like I said, it's a work in progress, but these are the things that we have for teachers to look at. So staying current, using technology, what kinds of instructional tools do we have, assessment, learning opportunities. So it's a nice resource. It looks good and it's easy to navigate. And we think it's easy to understand and use and find your information. So we like Google Sites, the new one.
Yeah, it was really clean to do. So one of the things you can see across is our main areas of staying current, instruction, and I like the drop-down box because it shows you, you could click on whatever you're interested in. Assessment, learning opportunities, tech. And then one thing I would just draw your attention to, because one or more of you may be asked about dyslexia and what we have available for educators, for parents, and for students. So I'm pretty excited about this. As many disciplines may be aware, we had many pages out there, many docs, many sites. So we feel like we've incorporated it now into one that can be very useful. And we'll preview early childhood as well. I know Pam's worked on that at our instructional services meeting later this week, but just wanted you to know that work in progress will continue to add to it, but we're pretty happy with how it turned out. Okay, quick synopsis of Actively Learn.
Okay, so Actively Learn is a resource that there's a link in our CIP document, I believe, about that goes to the website of Actively Learn if you want to click on that. And I personally heard about Actively Learn at a an iTech meeting where one of the consultants from, I think it was Prairie Lakes, was giving a session on using technology to increase reading skills. And Actively Learn was the one that she showcased and was really euphoric about. And what it does is it brings in text and it helps students do what I would call close reading, really higher order thinking about what exactly does the text say. And students and teachers can interact in the text. When I was doing some professional development a couple of years ago at Fremont Mills, I used Actively Learn with them because you can bring in your own document and then ask guiding questions, and they have to then respond to those inside the document. And it will also give feedback, and it was tell you who's been in it and show you how far along they are. So it has a nice feature for the teacher to use it as well. And I believe we're looking at it as some kind of a support tool that we would offer to districts as something that would help with that close reading, critical reading piece.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks for sharing that. Optimistic about the opportunities about that piece of
Yeah, it's a great product, Actively Learn.
Great. Okay, Marianne, Judy, update on, is there anything for the good of the group around literacy? Okay, how about update on media tech PLT?
I just added a couple things in there. Just a reminder to everybody, we do have dates for our upcoming conference in October, so put those on your calendar. We're trying to change the format up this year, talking about whether or not to have a keynote speaker and how we can maybe get some students involved. But I put locations to be determined on there. I think we're pretty sure about Glenwood, right, Marianne and David?
That's a definite on Glenwood.
We just don't know about the east location yet, so they're still looking for a place for that. So, and then if you're out in the buildings, we did buy 2 Google Expeditions kits so that students can experience virtual reality field trips through Google Expeditions. So those are going out 2 weeks at a time to different school districts, and so you'll hear some excitement and buzz about that. I didn't, is there anything else, Marianne, that...
Well, you forgot your favorite thing. So put that in there, because I was telling them all about it at Sydney, and I said it was your favorite thing.
Yeah.
They were excited. They could see why it was your favorite thing.
Breakout EDU, not really a tech thing, but it's, if you've heard of escape rooms that a lot of adults like to go to. I know there are 3 different escape room opportunities just in Omaha. I don't know what there is in Creston or Des Moines or wherever, but instead of breaking out, they're changing this now, and it's kind of caught fire across the United States and the world with teachers to help students with problem solving, team building, collaboration, communication, critical thinking. It can be done digitally, and there are some digital puzzles and clues and stuff, but instead of kids breaking out of their classroom, they're breaking into a big wooden box that they have to open different kinds of locks, they have to solve all kinds of clues, they have to work as teams. I did it with 1st graders and 3rd graders in Irwin last week. We had a special ed 1st grader who is unmotivated, unengaged, doesn't care about school. They can't get her to do anything. And that little girl was the leader of her group, and she was so excited, and the teachers in that building just could not believe it.
Wow.
But that was something that really, she just really stepped up to the plate and was pushing her team, and they solved it and broke out of the box before the time was up. So it's things like that that really get me excited. And I know people say, well, that's not really a tech thing, and it's not, but it's more on the innovative learning, gamification of education, getting kids involved. So you'll be hearing more about that. Hopefully you get to experience it sometime. We're doing that with a lot of staff that have asked to do some breakouts with their staff to get them, not just to learn about Breakout EDU, but maybe to collaborate and talk to each other a little bit. So that's also a big thing with us. You can check out 2 boxes. There's 2 for checkout from the media department, and then Mary Ann, Stephanie, and I each have a breakout box, and all the locks ourselves that we take to schools. Any questions?
So when I was over at Sydney and sharing this, the science and the math teacher have already decided that since they share the same kids and their periods are back to back, that they're going to work together and do a breakout.
That's
and
awesome.
So that's exciting. And then let's see what else. Oh, I was over in Shenandoah, and they're so excited about Breakout EDU. One of the sixth grade science teacher has her own box, and then she wrote a grant to get more boxes, and they have done quite a few over there and at the middle school in Shenandoah. And then kind of to piggyback on what Judy said about Breakout EDU and a learner that learns in a different way. I had the same experience again at Shenandoah Middle School working with Scratch, which is a programming tool that even I can do. And we were doing it with some, I think, 8th graders, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, the teacher was just so amazed because the kids that don't usually do well had theirs all done, and we're showing other kids how to do it and that sort of thing. So it just goes to show you that the importance of being able to present different ways of learning and doing things, and that we all can shine in some way. We're all, and so that's just kind of nice. The other thing for Media and Tech PLT, we're going to be teaching some summer classes again this summer. And one of them is, I'm pretty sure that it's a definite deal that we're going to have, is it Marcia Kish? Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Okay, come and teach a blended learning class. Remember, she was the keynote for our conference that we had in October about blended learning. And so she's going to come back and teach a 2-day class, and Judy and I are going to write a syllabus for it so that people could get credit. And then there'll be some other tech classes coming as well. Oh, Judy's going to teach one on Breakout EDU. Oh, and you forgot to tell them, we're going to do a breakout. We're going to write a Breakout EDU, we've decided. And it's going to be about the Iowa AEA online databases.
Oh. So
That's all we know. Well, I'm sure we know a lot more, but that's all we're going to tell you.
Okay.
You could take us out for a drink or something if you want to know more.
Any questions for Mary Ann and Judy? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Carrie. Hopefully she's on.
I am. Yeah, sorry to be late to the party, friends. I was working with a family early this morning, and it took a lot longer than I expected it to. But important work nonetheless. So on your agenda, and apparently I missed the math action planning, and really I got in on just here at the last part of the digital learning or of the literacy action planning. So I guess what I'd like for you to do is to take a look clear at the bottom of your agenda. And there is a short blog on SAMR. This is something I think, Mary Ann, maybe you shared it with the literacy group, and Pam Elwood shared it with me. And I thought it was important for us to look at because if you can bring that up on your own screens and just read through that very quickly. The reason I'm bringing it to your attention is that the last time we met as leads and in connection with the digital learning vision, we had looked at as Marianne had said, we had looked at it SAMR, and there was some discourse, some really healthy discourse about what SAMR is and what it isn't. And so I found that this blog by Michael Gorman helped me in my head really solidify what SAMR is and what it isn't. So I'd like for you to read through it very quickly, and then maybe just ask for a few people who've had similar experiences about what SAMR is as a instructional pedagogy and what it isn't. So we'll just take a few minutes if we have that time. I'll check back in with you at about 10:10.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm at 10:10, and it looks like not everybody necessarily has the CIP agenda reflection. Let me just change the settings on that real quick. And Terry, if you could unshare your screen. You might want to reboot and see if you now have access to the agenda reflection. But if we, because we'll get there in a second.
We have access, but it's view only.
I just changed it. Can you try it again?
Yeah, it works.
Okay, terrific. Thanks. Hey, now I see everybody. Thanks. Hi. Good to see your faces on this kind of dreary January or February day. So when after you read that blog, and I know some of us and Pam, thank you for sharing, because I think that was a good part of our discussion the last time we met as leads, is what does it really look like when we use SAMR and we don't necessarily see how, if we were to believe that SAMR was the be-all, end-all of instructional pedagogy, it kind of leaves us short. So what were some of your thoughts after you read that blog?
Are you asking anybody, or did you ask somebody specifically?
Anyone.
I was thinking that a lot of the things that we're using for technology for the kids in our area, for example, the Juno sound-filled system that has the capability of actually recording the lesson while it's amplifying to the room, and it also can plug into a computer and it can record what's on the teacher's screen or whatever she's projecting. And then the kids can revisit it later by clicking a link. That's going to help them, revisit the lesson. It doesn't necessarily take it above the level of augmentation. It's allowing them to function in a different way to get the same information. I don't know that that really goes beyond augmentation. And then I was thinking, I'm wondering if there's anything that we have technology-wise that's just for the hearing kids that goes beyond augmentation, and I'm having some difficulty getting there. Might be like right above the level of augmentation, but it doesn't really jump into that next category. Oh, and the Echo Pen. We borrowed an Echo Pen with a notepad. You would not believe this kid's progression after he got that Echo Pen. Because we were thinking, because he has such difficulty with putting things together, with the things that he hears, that revisiting it, an auditory lesson, wouldn't necessarily be the best thing, but with that pen added and the notes that he's taking and the lesson connecting to the notes that he was taking, in addition to being able to use that other device, he was getting it from 3 different directions, and it really helped him a lot. And now he's not on an IEP anymore. Now he's on a 504.
What the article made me think of, Jen, is that the learning is what goes to the learning potentially should be going to those higher levels. So when I think about technology that assists kids to access the learning, that the learning, how they do that you're not addressing the learning, like you're addressing, can he access what the teacher is trying to have them learn? And I just think those are different reasons for technology, and you just aren't on the learning side of it. It's more about engaging, can I get access to the learning for the kid?
And I think too, to add to that, especially in Jen's story, is that how then does having that access transform learning? Potentially, that student could really develop some transformational learning using those tools, or because of the use of those tools and the experience, moves on to something even that really does transform learning for the student. Any other insights from the blog? Pam, if you're on, I'd be interested in hearing, because I know you sent it to me, and for me it was helpful.
You're muted, I think.
Oh, I said I have a terrible cold, so I've had my video off so nobody sees me digging into my tissue box. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I was, my question was about the idea of the levels of SAMR and as that relates or has a relationship with higher order thinking or levels of instruction. And so one of the things with this blog that I really appreciate is that it says, you know, we need to think about kind of all of that simultaneously if we're thinking about Bloom. And one of the examples I gave at our lead meeting was, you know, you could take SAMR to a very high level, but if you have a really poor instructional strategy or lack of instructional strategy, you're just modifying and redefining a non-evidence-based event. So I really appreciated that. This week there was a blog piece that was really interesting about kids that have been through trauma, and it was, you can't address Bloom's until you address Maslow, right? So those kind of considerations in the relationships, I just think that this is really a nice, quick, easy way to think about it. And this is a blog piece that when we examine our early childhood PLT, the poster, we're going to have this side by side to just kind of think about what is the relationship of this with some of our evidence-based instruction that we're working towards.
Yeah, you know, what was kind of interesting to me and what was introduced in this blog was teaching above and below the line, the line between SA and MR, and really recognizing that SAMR is a good tool to start with, to lead you to more of a transformational type of instruction. Anyone else want to add their thoughts? Well, I'm not. Oh, go ahead, Cindy. So I'm hanging out in this Clarinda admin building in their conference room. So some concerns about interrupting my meeting, and there's certainly no concerns to that. But in the agenda reflection, really it's just designed to have you address what did you hear about digital learning today? So if we can take some time to maybe take a look, if you can read that and get some insights from folks. Well, I want to thank you all for contributing your thoughts. You're certainly welcome to continue to add more. It's evident to me that the more we talk about digital learning, the more we share our ideas and our new learnings and our experiences and what it is that, what thoughts we have that say, hey, this looks like it could be transformational, or this looks like it could really move us forward. I think those are the kinds of things that we need to share with each other, because we as students didn't grow up using technology like our kids today do. And so the more we talk about it, the more comfortable we will get with our own use of technology and our own abilities to help and consult others who want to really individualize and personalize learning for kids. So we'll use this information and kind of see where our next steps would be with our digital learning vision. David, I'm going to ask you to maybe jump in here, and because I don't know exactly how this all started, and if there's something that was said at the beginning that we need to connect to now here at the end.
Carrie, David is ill.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go back into the agenda and just say that it is 10:22, and I do believe we adjourn, unless there are other comments or other thoughts.
Are we doing our celebrations at the end?
That's exactly where I was going, Mary Ann.
Oh,
Thank
boy.
you.
I'm glad to be on the same wavelength with you.
Okay. So instead of starting out our meeting with celebrations, we were going to end them. So I would just ask for anyone and everyone to shout out some celebrations before we sign off this morning.
I can start. This is Pam. Last week, we were able to bring in Dr. Laura Justice from Ohio State University to work with our preschool teachers, some paras, and some of our SLP within this dialogic reading initiative that are working towards this year. And it just was a fantastic example of connecting research to practitioners. And there was a lot of energy from this event. Dr. Justice loves working with us because she thinks that we think so differently about engaging and sustaining professional development. And so she does say no to people, and she does say no to some other people in Iowa, but she is really interested in continuing to support us. So that's our celebration.
Thanks for making that happen, Pam. I know it fell at a difficult time for you. So thanks for making that happen. And I was able to, I just love when she is in our agency and presenting her brilliance with our teachers. So thank you.
Well, I'll go next. No, I'm not. I was working with a couple of fourth grade teachers at St. Albert on Friday, and they were really trying hard to use Fluency Tutor, and there were glitches and between calling the company and the Google Plus communities, and just persistence. We were able to work through it, and they're very excited about piloting it for their school, and that and they think it's going to work really well. And then if it does, they're going to request the administration to purchase it for them. And then Tina was sharing with me that Atlantic has purchased Fluency Tutor, and that it has significantly increased their reading scores. So kudos to those two teachers to work through the minutia of sometimes technology doesn't work right the first time.
Thanks, Mary Ann, and thanks for supporting them.
I'm going to share a quick celebration of my team. So we've been looking at what kinds of data can we collect for not just our stock take, but to have us like really looking at implementation of our work and movement of student achievement. And so we've been looking at proximal and distal data. So data directly aligned to instruction, data further from instruction, and then implementation data. And our 3-5 SDI project had 100 out of 103 assessments that were at 80% or higher, or kids had grown 40% on those assessments. So that was the research that Marilyn Burns uses with her stuff, and our team had 100 and 100 out of 103 on proximal assessment data that showed they were where they were supposed to be or higher. So that's really great data for us and for our team and for the teachers. So that's a huge celebration.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to applaud the math team for really researching and thinking outside of the box about next steps, and also for embarking on SDI math. So, way to go.
And the next steps is Gen Ed side that Tara's really taken on strong to push to the next level as well. So.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Angie, and I have a lot of staff observations that I've been doing lately, and it's been wonderful to see everything that you're talking about in action from the SDI math. I haven't had a chance to really look at the SDI literacy much, but the SDI math I had a chance to observe a recent training in at Halverson, and it was great the way things are connected, and you know, the math team's even pulling in our definition of SDI, and so familiarizing teachers with that work and those important concepts. And even with speech pathology, speech pathologists and paras, watching them implement the wonderful strategies that will support students with early literacy, it's just been fantastic. So I think our laser-like focus on literacy and math and supporting our most struggling learners is really paying off, and our staff are really engaging in great practice. So kudos to everybody for the work that they're doing.
Thanks, Angie.
I just would kind of echo that and share it from my perspective. I'm involved in a UNI class on Monday nights where I have the opportunity to visit with AEA staff from a couple other AEAs. And, you know, in some of our conversations, and everything is centered around, well, how does your AEA do this, and how do you address this? And I got to tell you, I am very, very proud of our agency's focus on literacy and math, and the willingness to look at other things as they come down, especially in the area of behavior. But I think I'm probably just most proud and impressed that I don't know that we're necessarily ahead of the curve, but I will tell you that the work that we're doing is really about getting after outcomes with kids. And when I listen to about the work that other AEAs are doing, it's very compliance driven. And the opportunity to take a risk and think outside the box, try something new and different, doesn't seem to be a part of their culture. And I hope that you continuously feel that that's a part of our agency's culture, is that we encourage risk takers and people to think, you know what, if this is status quo, and this sets a precedent, what does a better precedent look like? So I'm really very proud of our agency for having that kind of environment. I hope that you share those same sentiments.
Thanks, Carrie. I too appreciate our focused approach to work. It really does, I think, help make us stronger and better partners with our schools. So thank you.
I would this kind of perfect segues into this, or maybe I'm just echoing what other people have already said, but I would say as an SLP group, the celebration that I personally have yet, and I'm not sure it's a group celebration at this point, but we're hoping to move that direction. Thinking back to the first time this group met and the reading we did that time, and there was a graphic in there that was kind of about systems level change and the steps that need to happen to make real true change occur. And our smaller group has been reflecting on that a little bit, and we even did some reflection on that in a large group, and it was amazing that there was a consensus of where as an SLP group we're breaking down, even within the large group. And so after spending some time thinking about that, the celebration for us, I think, is that we were able to kind of step back and look at our system and start talking about our system and why we're not getting the results we want from our SLPs and our students. So we're starting to problem solve that and look at some other options to get a little bit better results. And I think that's a huge celebration that we have that opportunity to problem solve and think about what's best for kids.
Thanks, Jen.
I think a big celebration that we have as an agency has to be around our TLC coaches. I've never seen a group of people so excited about their jobs and making such a difference in their schools. I have more contacts with them, of course, than I do with admin than I ever did. And I just, like Mary Ann said, before, I mean, it was such an unknown, and then all of a sudden they're realizing, or teachers are realizing, what a help that is to go through a coaching cycle, and all the work that Diane Sweeney has done, and Tara, thanks for helping with that too. But I just think that's something we need to continue to celebrate also.
I agree. And that really is the sentiment across the state. So we need to continue to celebrate and capitalize on those coaches, because they are key to our work. So thanks, Judy. Very, very well said.
My experience from October to just in January, the growth in coaches is amazing. It is so fun to watch, and it makes me feel so good to be in education when you get to see the growth that happens from something like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I have one of the coaches that I work with a lot. He said that he wished, just being able to get in different people's classrooms from K-12, he said, I wish that I had had this experience before I came out of the classroom. He said, because this would make me so much of a better teacher, just because now I'm a coach and I see through a different lens. So I thought that was good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It looks like, Terry, our next time together is May 2nd.
Yeah. Did anybody else have any other celebrations?
Connie Terry has one in the chat. 5th grade special ed student finished the MAP test for math and said, I went up 39 points. Is that good? Expected growth was 7 points. Guess it was good.
Good. Awesome. That's the power of setting goals and achieving them, or going beyond, right?
Yes, there's a 4th grade teacher. Well, I don't know. There's probably a lot of them out there, but I don't know, that set those goals and celebrating with the kids.
Yes.
Some of the pictures that I've seen from her classroom have been utterly amazing.
Yep.
So, I mean, that warms my heart as well.
Yeah, me too. I can remember doing that when I was a school improvement consultant and learning about MAP and really implementing that all the way up in Boyer Valley. And those kids were just thrilled. Any other celebrations from the field? Okay, well, I'm letting silence do the heavy lifting, and unless anybody has anything else for the good of the group, I think we'll sign off. Carrie, you said our next meeting is what?
May 2nd.
Okay.
I believe
In
it's
Avoca.
right, and we're all together.
Okay.
Yeah.
May 2nd, Avoca. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking the time today, and the focus that we place on reading and math, and obviously MTSS, TLC, which if we look back at our goals, that's really where we need to be. That's our big rocks, and the little rocks fall in between, huh? So thank you for all of your great work. I know we have an instructional services meeting later this week. Some of this will be redundant for some of you, and we'll try and put a different twist on some things and make it not so redundant, but be ready to share again on Thursday morning. Thank you to Cindy and to Janet for joining us. Any final words, gang?
Thanks for including us in your good works.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us. And I guess everybody have a great day, and thank you again for all of your hard work.
Thanks, T-Bush.
Yep.
Thanks,
See y'all,
Carrie.
y'all.
Yep. Take care.
Bye, y'all.
Carrie, bye.
Bye.
Hey, Tina.